storage, they usually will use NAS systems to backups. NAS systems they use that. So if you're in an interview and they're talking about how do you set up your backup systems, you might visualize a system like this, right? Something like this. You might visualize this, and you just imagine that. Okay, well, we have a NAS server. Now let's just say we have 100 terabytes right here of storage, and now we have now connected all of our systems right here to this storage, right? So every system here has been connected to this storage system. Now, just to say this is a mount point to the NAS, right? And this is a mount point to the NAS. So it just means that this mount point is connected directly to this. Right, and again, for those that did their NAS, you know that you can create lawns and actually connect them over to the systems. Now, if you the way they do storage is that you can configure this system right here to copy every data that's on it and store it inside of the NAS mount point. Same thing for this. Stores it in here. And so you have data, right? So you have data. And so now, so full backup just means, remember, people, employees will keep generating data. They keep generating data. And so data keeps coming in here every day. And over the weekend, when everybody's gone, you say, gee, I have all of this data. Now, what if this server goes out, right? What if this server goes out right here, right? Or what if this hard drive containing this data, what if the hard drive crashes? Then I don't have this data. Then you set up a backup system so that it copies the whole thing into your NAS system. Copies this one into the NAS system. Every server on the line does the same thing on Saturday. And that's what companies do. So you have a full backup. Full backup means that every data will be backed up. Now let's look at a scenario right here. Let's just say for this server, right, on Saturday, so on Saturday, let's just say you had 50 gigabytes of data that was backed up, So this data was backed up to the NAS, and this was for full backup, right? So that was full backup. And then on Monday, right? On Monday, they generated, let's just say, 5 gigabytes of data. This is brand new data that was generated on Monday. Now, so what are we looking at? Now, our backup right here has just this 50 gig of data stored. Now, so let's just say this 5 gig. So this 5 gig has not been backed up yet, right? If this 5 gig was, if we want to, now, generally, we have a total data now of 55 gigs. But what has been backed up is just 50 gig. That's for Monday. Monday, 5 gig was generated. Now, let's just say we have Tuesday. We got on Tuesday. Now, let's say on Tuesday, J. Cruz mistakenly deletes a file that was created on Monday, right? So J. Cruz deletes a file that was created on Monday, and then she calls you up and she says, well, I mean, I understand you guys do backup, so can I get my file back? You got a problem. Then you say, well, gee, we backed up everything for last week, but we don't have anything for Monday. And so there's nothing we can do. And she says, oh my God, I worked all day, on that file, and now it's just going to be a waste. So companies now, what they will do is that they will now do incremental backups. Now, what they will do is that on Monday, right, they will now back up these 5 gigs of data and store it somewhere in the NAS as well. So the 5 gig increment has been backed up. See that? So on Tuesday morning, if JCrew says, well, I deleted my file, then you say, oh, gee, let me go to the incremental, right? So this was the full backup right here. And then this one is the incremental right there. So this is an increment. So you'll go to your Monday incremental backup, and then you get JCrew's file from it. The same thing for Tuesday. Now let's just say Tuesday we have 2 gig generated. Then you will do an incremental of the 2 gig, right? That 2 gig will be added to the server. Same for Tuesday. For Wednesday, you add whatever. Let's say Wednesday was 1 gig, and it just keeps going. So you have incremental backup for every single day, all the way to what? Friday, right, folks? Now, well, most people would do incremental, to Friday, and then they do full backups on Saturday. Now, the point here is, if you're doing incremental backups, then what's the point for the full backup then? See that? Well, companies just do that because now once you do a full backup, what happens is that the full backups, they keep them for a longer time. The incremental backups can be deleted. So a lot of companies, what they'll do is that on Friday, they'll do a full backup, and then they'll keep that full, and then wipe out what they did for incremental and start over again. See that? Because that full backup has everything. Now, let me just illustrate that kind of that scenario for you right here. Oh, come on. I just wanted to add another page. All right, good. All right, so we have the weeks right here. So we have, this is week 1, right? Week 1, so on Saturday, well, so we have Monday, Tuesday, and then Saturday, okay? So then you do your incrementals, right? So you do incremental, 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 and then full. All right, remember this full right here. This full right here is, is a combination of everything, right? So let's just say we had 2 gig generated, right? Incremental right here. We had 2 gig, 3 gig, 4 gig, 2 gig, 1 gig. Now, so what would be the full? What would be the size of our full backup right here? So you have 5 plus 4, that's 9, plus 2, that's 11. So that's 12 gigs, right? So we have a 12 gig done on Saturday. So on Saturday, what happens is that everything on the server. So it just means that for this week 1, let's just say this is a brand new server, and this is the first week that the server is up, and this is the amount of data that was generated for that first week. So you had 12 gigs of data that was generated. Now, this 12 gig will be stored somewhere in your NAS system, just kept there. And then for week 2, right? Week 2, what will happen now is that Monday for week 2, remember, the 12 gig was backed up. So now what will happen now is that Monday, an incremental will be done, right? Incremental will be done. Let's just say we had an incremental for 3 gigs right here. And let's just say now this is Monday. So now on Tuesday, they want to restore. Restore means that somebody has deleted something and you have to go get it back from the backup, right? So you come to work on Tuesday morning. You come to work and they say, well, we need data has been deleted, so we need a disaster recovery. We need you to restore that data. And you say, well, what day was it? Right? What day was it? And they say, well, it was on Monday. We did just this past Monday. We deleted something. So you will go to the incremental, right, folks? You go to the incremental for last Monday. So now you say, oh, gee, we backed up Monday incremental. You go to incremental and you say, what's the name of the file? And you restore the file, right? Now, then you get another ticket for restore, and it says, well, it's a file that we created last week. It could have been on Monday or Tuesday of last week or Wednesday. I don't know. And you say, what's the name? Gives your name. So now where will you go to look for it? Will you go to the incremental or will you go to the full? You go to the full one. You go to the full backup because, if it's last week, then it's in the full backup. Now remember, when you start the incremental, most companies, what they do, instead of, for them not to waste a lot of storage, they will store this incremental and then they will start deleting. They will store this full and then they would start deleting the incremental. So now for Monday, they might wipe off this one and then use it for this, because they don't want to be wasting storage, right? Remember, we have everything for last week in the full backup right here, right? And so we can safely delete the incremental. So Tuesday, they'll replace this incremental with the Tuesday data, and that's just how it goes. So that's how it works. So companies, they always will do full backups and incremental backups as well. Now, so again, you see that full backups when everything on the server is backed up. Incremental is when just there's added information that was just added, that's why they call it incremental. That's an increment from full or incremental. So it says that this is backup performed on data generated since the last full backup, right? Or incremental backup. So if it was Monday, then that's new data that's being generated since the last full backup. Now, if it's Tuesday, that's data generated since the last incremental backup, which was the last Monday incremental, right? And so this is it. Now, most companies will perform incremental is obsolete. They don't use it anymore a whole lot because it's resource intensive. It uses up a lot of CPU and RAM resources. Differential backup has to do with backing up. Now, this backup is performed on files that have only on files that have been changed. So, let's just say you did a full backup on Saturday, and then now the system now looks. If you have differential backup set up for Monday, what will happen is that they will monitor the system and just try to back up just any file that was changed, right? It just looks at it. If you made any modification on anything, then it will just grab that single change. For example, let's say you were typing a letter and you type paragraph 1, 2, 3 on Monday, right? And let me illustrate that again, so because it will make sense to you if I do that. Let's see. Okay. okay, let's just say, now let's just say you work, it is Monday, and then you type in this letter right here, and then this is you've done paragraph 1, right? You type paragraph 1, da 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 da, and you're done. Okay, and so now for incremental backup, the whole file is backed up, right? It's backed up. So what happens is that for Tuesday, right? Let's just say you come and you add paragraph 2. Now this will increase. You know, it increases. You know, the amount of storage that you're being used. And so if it was incremental backup, it will back up the whole letter file again. So it backs up the whole thing now. But if it's incremental, I mean, this is incremental, it will back up the whole letter file. But if it's differential, right? So again, incremental will back up the whole file, including what you've done before. Now, differential, I remember I'm just abbreviating. Differential will back up just what was changed in the file. So it will say, okay, it will say on Monday we backed up paragraph 1. So on Tuesday, differential will back up just the paragraph 2. So it copies just the paragraph 2, and then it now stores it in the system. That's the differential thing. Differential will not back up the whole file like incremental will do, but it will back up just what you've added. This is the difference. So the difference is that you added paragraph 2 on Tuesday, and so it grabs just paragraph 2 and backs up what you've just added. It's crazy. And it had a matrix in the system where, let's say you were trying to retrieve the whole document, then it had a matrix where it will figure out how to put them together and generate the whole thing. And it was very cumbersome. So that's why they're not even using it anymore today. But what we want to understand is that differential backups will back up just anything that was any changes that was made to any document or directory. It doesn't back up the whole thing, but if it's the incremental, it backs up the whole directory again. The whole thing. It grabs the whole directory over and backs it up. But if it's differential, it goes and, let's say it's a directory and you added just a file in there, it grabs just the file. If the directory was already, let's say 10 gig, then you added a 2 gig file. Now, remember now the full size of the directory will be 12 gig. Incremental will back the whole 12 gigs up. Again, but differential will just grab only that 2 gigs that was added. So it will conserve space, but it was very cumbersome. It was very taxing on the system. It will use up a lot of RAM to do that, and it takes longer. So let's say an average, let's say you had 4 gig of data, right? Now an average incremental backup, right? Incremental backup can let's say if incremental backup takes 2 hours to back up these 4 gigs, differential might take a little bit like 5 hours to do it. That's how it was. I mean, it just takes a long time. And so most companies were like, you know, though it's going to save us space, but it's not worth, you know, waiting, and it's just too taxing on the system. It uses a lot of system resources. It takes forever. So they rather just deal with the space issue that, you know, will be used up by differential by incremental than dealing with differential. So it's very rare to see any company today that's doing differential backups. I haven't seen a company that's really doing differential backup for a long time. So again, what you're looking at, what you want to say is that, okay, well, you do full and incremental backup. Now again, like I said, differential backup will be, you just say backup is performed, backup is performed only on changes, only on additional.
I don't have no space on my bag.
Only on additional information or additional changes on the 2D, right? Additional changes made to files and directories. Right. So it will not copy the whole full directory over. It just copy the changes that have been made to the files or directories, and that's it. So it is resource intensive, and it takes a whole lot of time. So companies really don't want to use this method of backup anymore. So what you will see when you start to work, you will see full backup and backup. Yes.
So with the incremental backups, right? So you're saying companies prefer incremental backup. So if we're on Thursday, we're doing an incremental backup on Thursday, it's going to do a duplicate from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the new data that we put it on there on Thursday, right? So it's going to do a duplicate because it's already done a backup on those days before, right?
Yeah, no, what? Yeah, okay, you mean for the incremental as opposed to differential, right? Yes, yes, it will do that, of course. It will. If you're looking at the difference between the incremental and differential, it definitely will. Now, the thing with differential is that, with incremental is that, well, if you're working on a document and you add something to it, or let's just say you had a directory, and then you added something to the directory, it grabs the whole directory again, and then dump it in the incremental backups for that day. But if you did not work on that directory, it will not back it up again. It just grabs additional stuff, but it doesn't do a differential kind of a thing. It doesn't differentiate. It just it looks at the directory. It says looks at the latest update date. It says this directory was modified today, and it just grabs the whole thing. Okay. It doesn't go into it and then look for what was added, but the differential does that.
Let's look at this in terms of capacity, right? So we have say we have a 1 terabyte hard drive space, right? Mm-hmm. And then on Monday we did 5 gigabytes. Tuesday we did another 5. Wednesday we did 5. On Thursday we want to do. So we're at 15 right now. So if the incremental backup is doing another backup on Thursday, is that going to be 15 plus whatever data was done on that day?
No. Okay, let me try to get illustrated again. I see what you're saying. Now remember, what is happening is that incremental is backing up everything you're adding, right, to the system. Remember, look at the definition right here. This is backup performed on data, right, generated since what? The last full backup, the last full or incremental backup. See that? Look at this, incremental. Well, so if you did 5 gigs on Monday, and then you let's say you added another 5 gigs on Tuesday, okay, then it grabs the 5 gigs that you added on Tuesday. I'm trying to, I think I know where your confusion is coming from. Let me try to let me illustrate it again on my little thing right here, and you get the point. I know where your problem is coming from. All right, there you go. All right, now let's look at this. So, okay, good. All All right, so now, so we have, let's just say we have Monday, right? Now this is Monday, right, folks? All right, so now you're sitting in this hard drive, and let's just deal with directories, though. All right, well, let's just say, now these are different directories that you've added. All right, let's just say D1, D2, D3, D4. All right, now this is 1 gig, this is 1 gig, that's 1 gig. So altogether, that's 4 gig, right, folks? All right, so we have a 4 gig directory. So this directory right here is 4 gig. I mean, now this is the main directory. Now it has these other subdirectories in it. So this is a 4 gig directory with other little directories. So now let's just say we're talking about incremental. So incremental, so on Monday night, you back up your 4 gig directory right there. Okay, that's Monday. Okay, so now on Tuesday, now this is Tuesday right here. I mean, we're just assuming that this is the same directory. And then on Tuesday you came here, and then you added D5 right here, right? You added D5 into this directory. Now, and this is 1 gig. Now, how much is this? 5 gig. Now, if it's incremental, the whole thing will be backed up again into your incremental backup for Tuesday. See that? So Monday you have 4 gigs. Now, that's what you had yesterday. Okay, now Tuesday you have another 5 gig. Now it backed up the whole thing. But now let's just say you had this whole directory right here and some other directory. Let's say you had other directory. Okay, so we had Monday, you had another 2 gig directory. You had another 3 gig directory right here. Now, so let's adjust. Let's say you had all of those. So on Monday, this is what would have happened then. This 4 gig, so you have a 4 gig directory plus a 2 gig directory plus, let's just say that's what you added on Monday, plus a 3 gig directory will be copied, will be backed up. Now, so we're talking about generally, that's 7 plus 2, that's 9 gig. So it's a Monday, 9 gig of data was backed up. Now, let's say Tuesday, you did nothing on this 2 gig directory right here and on this 3 gig. You just work on this 4 gig directory and you added this folder right here and it became 5 gig. On Tuesday, only the 5 gig will be backed up. This 2 gig and 3 gig directory will not be touched because nothing has changed. You see that? Increment. There have been an increment in this one, and then the whole thing is backed up to the backup. Now Monday was 9 gig because everything here was backed up. Tuesday was just this one because only additional data was generated in this directory only. And so now we will have just 5 gig of incremental data backed up on Tuesday. So that's what you really have to know. But now if it was differential, right, folks? If it was differential, then only this 1 gig of directory that you added will be backed up. You see the difference between differential and